Greetings. This is Skyler seeing what's current. Very serious matter. World's took United States ally Israel has been attacked, and the number of dead civilians and I think Israeli combatants is rising. It was in the 200s last time I checked, and thousands of other injuries. But all this could have been prevented. And I want to make sure we have a few points to hit on. Number one, the United States should be out with their candles up into the air, holding them up. The believers. This is what believers did. I remember on September 11, 2001, we went outside. This is when I was a believer as well. We held out candles, and we went to a Bible vigil in a garage across the street. And one of my neighbors in houses, and we just we prayed, and we asked Jesus to please give us strength in this dark hour, and everything was so bad and awful. People alleged that they could smell the smoke and the debris coming from the fallen towers, even in Delaware. That maybe I'm substantiated, but it could be true as well. I'm not sure, but we just seem very blasé about this. We see in the news. Oh, Israel was attacked. Oh my God. Oh, that's terrible. Doesn't Notre Dame play today? Isn't that's what we're really like today? It's on this Saturday. This is one of the worst things to ever happen to Israel, and they have one of the worst leaders in Benjamin Netanyahu, Baba. He knew about this. He knew that they could attack back in 2014, back in 2018. What did he do? Nothing. He actually didn't do nothing. He did worse than nothing. He appeased. He bowed down and kissed the feet of his enemies. And that's ironic in a sense, because that's a Christian way of doing things. If you pray for those who harm you, do good to those who besmirch your name. I'm paraphrasing. That's not the exact quote from the Bible, but you get my drift. It's a very serious time period. I'm not kidding around. I'm not even going to call, say little hats. I'm not going to say anything like that. I want to say, Israelis. I want to say how America has to have Israelis back. Israel is a beacon of reason, purpose, and self-esteem, reason, individualism, and capitalism, and a region that is overrun by barbarians and brutes. It deserves better. It had its wars in the past, like the Yom Kippur War. That was 50 years ago. And in that war, they were able to assess what kind of damage they could do in that. But before that, the 6-day war, where they won the war in 6 days, that was a turning point. Because previously, when Israel was founded, it was just a little tiny little state, by itself, amongst, like I said, brutes and savages. And they're like, oh, look at the little country. They're just getting on their feet. Isn't that cute? Isn't that nice? Oh my God, that's good. And then they turn around and they do the 6-day war, and like, whoa, wait a minute. They look like they can fend for themselves. They look like they're rough, tough, and ready to go. And that whole sentiment has, evaporated. It's completely gone. So with Israel being a staunch supporter of America and a staunch supporter of, things that are rational, things that are life affirming and true, America has every, notion to back them up. In America, we should be out in the streets right now. We should be out in the streets, not dancing, maybe not singing, but holding up those candles. Since we're all, most of us are Christians, most of us, have ties to Israel. The pastor of the church I go to was just in Israel a few months ago. Unreason Institute. You have people like the chairman of the board, Dr. Yaron Brook, who has family in Israel. They're a little away from where the devastation took place. They're I don't know if they're a little away, but they have a substantial um, uh, mileage away from where the devastation took place. And so he has reported that they're in good standing. No one has been injured or killed. No, I would say thankfully, but who's to thank? Because like I said, Benjamin Netanyahu is one of the worst ever. He's terrible. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's been in power for way too long. He rose to power in the late 90s and has been been the prime minister for over a decade, I believe. Let me make sure I can look that up, but he's been in position of power all these years, and he has done nothing, obviously, to prevent something like this from happening. And I always say it's like, they say dictators like whack-a-mole. You knock one down, another one pops up, and knock another one down, another one pops up. Well, I always think of this as duck, duck, goose, terrorism and attacks and things of that nature. December 7th, 1941 was our goose. Now Japan said duck, 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 United States goose, and they dropped bombs on battleships and naval personnel, and that was a terrible, horrible, horrific event. And then we have to have 9/11. That was our goose on September 11th, 2001. It was a very serious time. We had the idea of the fact that we were so weak, in our intelligence and in our we were actually kind of strong in our intelligence. We knew that there was an imminent threat to go down in the coming weeks. That was in July or August. That was across George W. Bush's desk in the summer, in the midsummer, and he did nothing about it. He didn't do anything. He didn't look into it. He was like, okay, great, wonderful. So we go on, and we through 23 years, or 22 years later, and our main ally, Israel, is attacked. And we're like, is the game on though? Can we watch the game? Like we show very little support just on our level. We're looking to our leaders. We're looking to our tacticians, because that's what we should be doing. We're giving billions of dollars to Ukraine. Have billions of dollars, not billions of dollars, but $1 million worth of military equipment that should be shipped over there. If not billions, millions of dollars should be shipped over there and to fight for Israel. That's the goal. That should be our main calling card, to be to fight for this. That's a paradox. That's a weird paradox too. Because the only way to achieve peace sometimes is to vanquish, well, not sometimes, always, to vanquish your enemy. Not to love, not Luke 6:27 or Matthew 5:44, love your enemies. And then they say, well, I can love my enemies, but I don't have to like them. Okay, that's cute, but you're still valuing them in some way. If you don't like, if you love them and not like them, it's goofy. So I'm saying that we should be able to stand up and rise up against these horrible, horrific individuals that are lower than individuals. They're animals in a sense. They're brutes. Salute Andre, continuing his reign in the 50 club. He sent me another $20. He's not even on right now. I'm trying to send him a message, and he's just not on. I'm gonna send him one this way. Salute to Tone J. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate it. Definitely appreciate that. Thank you. Hold on to that. But I'm slowing the show down a little bit. I'm being a little bit more serious. I know I can get goofy and stupid and go off the walls. And I'm just giving you Cash App and PayPal information because I have to get paid for these shows. I'm not doing it just for my health. I'm doing this because I'm passionate about what I say. And I know that Tone J is looking for me to be on point, and that's why he gives his $20. He gives me $20 each time. I'm looking for 10s and 20s. You can do 10, and I accept that. 5, I'm coming close, but 1, you can kick rocks. I'm not looking for $1. But 10s and 20s especially is what I'm looking for. That's to support the machine. All right. And speaking of support, we have to support Israel. And it's a day like Saturday. Saturday is a weird day for Americans. This is our day off. Today and tomorrow. I mean, and tomorrow is kind of like a day where you have to go to church, and that's kind of like, But Saturday is like completely like, hey, it's kick back your feet and relax. Not even worrying about what's going on in the world. But we have to. You should. Any rational human being knows that this attack was caused because of unreason or irrationality or irrationalism. It was completely because of thoughtlessness. And they have reports of Israeli and American flags burning and people dancing in the streets because Israelis were killed and wounded, because they were murdered in their bedrooms, in their houses, in the streets, in the cars. Their bodies were mutilated because of the rockets. There was a time where Hamas probably only had 200 to 300 or maybe 1,000 rockets. They launched over 2,000 to 3,000 today. They had flying vessels that launched weaponry and dropped bombs. It was partially the Israeli fault too, because they were asleep at the wheel. They usually have a robust system of checking for weapons and checking for combatants. Salute Korean TV. Salute. Salute. Where were you when you were in the news? Korean TV. They kidnapped and took a lot of. Yeah, they're holding hostages. At least 2 situations where they're holding hostages. It's very serious. This is a very serious matter. Very serious. And I'm not going to make light of it. I'm only asking for $10 and $20 donations, but I'm not going to front my 50 club. I wanted to get into that today, but I just want to continue on. It is sad, and we don't care. Americans don't care. That's our greatest ally. We're like, shoot, well, hey, that's all right. That's not selfishness, by the way. People say, oh, Americans are just so selfish. They're just thinking about themselves. No, that's not selfishness. That's unreason. That's the same unreason that caused these attacks. When you don't value somebody that has great worth, like Israel and Israelis, that's unreason, not selfishness. Selfishness is rational. Should be rational. That's what selfishness is. They say, oh, you're acting like a child. You're acting selfish. Well, children don't know what selfishness is. They have no clue. They don't even have an idea of what selfishness is. Selfishness is rational self-interest. And that's just a brief statement. It doesn't have the full context of what selfishness is. Ayn Rand wrote a whole book on the virtue of selfishness. Yeah, we're with NATO and U.S., but I'm just saying how the U.S. especially should be, like I said, holding up candles. I'll never forget that. We held up candles. We were outside. All the news networks were shut down. I mean, it's hard to say now because there's streaming services, but I think virtually every channel, even the cable stations, they didn't know what to do. They just put it on different, somber music on MTV. I remember that. I remember the nightly news on BET. If you can believe that, they had the CBS Nightly News on BT running. I remember all this. I remember that. It's seared into my memory. And what do we have? We had college games. We got football to play. We got to play football, or else the terrorists win. Remember that? Remember that line? Oh, we got to go back to work, or the terrorists win. Oh, we've got to drive our cars and go to the beach, or the terrorists win. You know, it's disgusting. And don't get me even started with the fact that that Israel could be attacked by factions in Egypt, factions and Hezbollah during the Hezbollah terrorist groups, and as well, and most important, Iran. We are so enamored with, you know, the idea of how we had to attack Iraq. We had to go into Iraq. No weapons of mass destruction found, not a firecracker, as the late great Paul Mooney said. Didn't even find a firecracker. But we went in, and 5,000 to 6,000 young men and women had to perish because of it. Afghanistan. We went through the mountains. We were in the sandbox in Iraq. In Afghanistan, we were in the mountaintops. And what were we doing? Looking for terrorists? Looking for the Taliban? The Al-Qaeda just moved out. And they went into someplace else. But the Taliban took over. So we lost the oil in Iraq, which other people said we were fighting for. We lost the control over that. We lost the regions that we were fighting in Afghanistan, and left in disgraceful fashion. And the Taliban took over. So which wars have we won? And when was the last time we won a war? World War II? Korea was a stalemate. Vietnam was a complete quagmire, a disgusting disgrace. And then you have also, well, the one war that we did actually kind of win. It wasn't like it was an overwhelming, super huge victory. Was Desert Storm, was the first Gulf War in the early 90s. That was actually a win. We actually beat, you know, let the Iraqis run away and hide. We actually had some kind of semblance of a victory there. But that was about it. September 11th, boom, we should have been in Iran. Saudi Arabia. Say, oh, Saudi Arabia is our allies. Yeah, like Ike Turner was a great husband. That's how much of an ally Saudi Arabia is. That's how serious this is. That's how ridiculous and sick and disgusting we have to, you know, experience. We have to experience this as, you know, humans of the world, as individuals, as man and women, as man and woman, as qua man and woman. All right, good to go, Kareem. Thank you for stopping by. Make sure you leave a $10 or $20 before you go. I support. I appreciate it. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate it. Thanks. So that just pisses me off. I mean, because it's just, I just don't understand it. I mean, I do understand it. I get it. It's unreason, like I said. It's irrationality. That's the whole premise of it. And collectivism and altruism. That's also it. I should change the title just right there. I am actually doing it right now. I'm changing the title. Unreason and altruism. Because that's what we do. We appease, and we have hat in hand, you know. Please, we would like to be friends. Could you kind of please, instead of saying, look, you attack us, and you will have the fire and brimstone brought upon your head so quickly that you won't even be able to think about it. It'll make your head spin. That's how serious we have to be. That's how truthful and honest and blatant we have to be. We have to be vicious with this. I'm a United States Marine. I'm not one of the top generals. I don't have, shiny stuff on my shoulders or on my collar. I was a low level personnel, Lance Corporal, E3. If you don't know, that's very low on the chain. Very low on the chain of command. Super low. You're not even a non-commissioned officer yet. You're just about to be with being a corporal, but you're not quite there. But why is it that I can see this? I mean, it's like like I said, I do understand the reason why. I'm just asking, not verbatim, just a rhetorical question. I'm just throwing, why are our leaders so mystified and so altruistic and so unreasonable, irrational? Why is that? Why do we have to have the leaders in both in Israel and America? Why do we have to be so weak when it comes to things that are serious like human lives? And it's very easy and very not only is it easy, it's wrong and pernicious because it gets evil over time. When you say things like, oh, they just want to get more oil, they just want to get more land, or they just want to get more people, they don't care about the people getting, killed or injured. That's not even it. That's not even close to being it. It's ineptitude is what it is. They if they could do that, then they would really have a greater grip on the world and have an understanding of the fact that you should be able to end your enemy's advancements before they even have a thought to do it. Like, the 15 of the 19 hijackers of 9/11, they all had been from Saudi Arabia. Now, is that a coincidence? Bin Laden, he was born in Saudi Arabia. And we're supposed to be allies with these people. You got to be kidding me. You don't do deals with your enemies. And that's all we've been doing. We've been doing deals and we've been capitulating and hat in hand, like I showed you, reaching out. Could we please make a deal? Could we please make a deal? That's where we are. That's the kind of mentality that we have. That's the kind of thinking that we have. Sadly, that's where we are. That's all the thoughts that we have today in this realm. So over 200 people so far. I know it's probably going up by the time I'm even speaking this, but at least 200 people murdered, butchered because of the leaders' inability or ineptitude or just complete basket case situation, and then try to say, oh, we're at war and this is going to be what do you say, Netanyahu, I'm trying to think exactly what he said. There'll be a mighty vengeance. A mighty vengeance. Why is there even a vengeance? This should have been the day where, people will be watching football games and have nothing even to think about. People are thinking about this. People are watching the game, watching the tackles, watching the touchdowns, watching the offensive line, watching the defense. And they're like, damn, Israel, man, feel for you. Can't do nothing for you, but damn. And Israel had an outpouring of grief. They had an outpouring of support in the wake of 9/11 because they know that they're next. And look what happened. It wasn't as, I wouldn't say on a scale, it wasn't as big as 9/11, but it was close, very close. And it's probably, it could get closer or even more, depending on the outcome of the casualties and the report of all those that were injured. If they lose their lives, because their lives were taken from them, actually, but if they perish, then it will be something that will be even more vicious than even the events of September 11th, 2001. And if you say in regard to the size of the countries, I mean this is definitely their 9/11 and their Pearl Harbor, just based on the amount of people that live in Israel. It's not as many as 330 million people in the United States, and the thousands of people that lived and worked in the New York and Washington and were on that plane that went down in Pennsylvania. And I'm looking at this right now. Korean TV came through. Hey, Tone J came through and dropped a 20 on me. I appreciate that. And it is, I am going back to this because I've learned that that I'm going down. So it's not 80 anymore, but it's $20 $20 raised, 60 to go. So I'm all right with it just being zero right now. That's people that want, you're watching the game, you eating your ho-hos and you're snacking on, a cheeseburger and you should be. I'm not saying that you should go out. I'm just giving you an example of how we went out during 9/11, 2001. That we had the candles in the air and we went to a Bible vigil, and it was a different time period, especially for me. I was a believer. I was faithful. I was wondering why all this was happening. Much like I'm sure that the teenagers, the young teens, and the kids in Israel, they must have some sense of what is going on. They must have some semblance of all the wars and different just calamities that have befallen that state of Israel. And we have to have some way that we can demolish them. I say, hear me out right now. I've written this in fiction. I've written this in nonfiction. Nuke, nuke, nuke. Nuclear warfare against Iran and Saudi Arabia. Now you say, oh, no, you can't. Oh, well, we gotta wait on that. You can't have nuclear weapons. Has to be a very serious event. It has to be. I don't even know what the reason against it really. I think I'm all for it. Oh, it's too expensive. It's too much. It's too much money. It takes too much. It's too much in the dollar forms. Could be. I just know that if you have a nuclear war against Iran and a nuclear war against Saudi Arabia, then groups like Hamas and Hezbollah would just fall. Now Greg Ass is saying Assalamu alaikum, my brother. You know I don't like that. We don't get called brother in this hater sphere. But salute to you anyway, Greg Ass. You watching the game? You watching the game, ain't you? I know you are. You're tailgating somewhere, aren't you? You at the community college football game, aren't you? you at the HBCU, ain't you? You at the HBCU right now, aren't you? Got that. Got that 20. Greg ass, you gotta start up. Get your weight up. Get your weight up. Find yourself. Find your inner financier and allow $20 to reach my bank account. Let that happen. But I just gave a little bit of levity, in this very serious, intense situation. No, it's very, very serious. I still say nuke them. I said we nuke them. We nuke them, and we nuke them now. That will send a clear message That was in a serious message. Something that we should have done 22 years ago. Something that Israel could do and might do in the wake of this, because that's what Iran is doing. Iran is dancing in the street again. They got the flags burning, the Israeli and American flags burning, set a flame, set ablaze. They're having a good old time. And what do? We just sit back. Sorry for your loss, Israel. I got to get to this game. I got to get to this. I got to go to the movies. I got to see something. I got to see a new movie coming out. What's the new movies coming out? It's weird. It's just a weird situation where we live in. It was great to see the heads of Unreason Institute, Elon Journo, Dr. Ankar Gate, and Dr. Yaron Brook. They got on the horn quickly within a few moments of the news breaking, a few hours, a few minutes, a few hours, and they did shows to try to give some sense and some background and some severe and serious understanding, complete and thorough reporting, and not just reporting, but philosophizing. They're all philosophers. Well, not Dr. Brook. Dr. Brook's not a philosopher, but Elon Journo and Dr. Ankar Gate, they're philosophers. But they all had precise and penetrating points on the topic of the Israeli attacks, the attacks on Israel. So I appreciate them. That's one thing that I do appreciate about the Unreason Institute, and the fact that they penetrating point. I'm not trying to be funny here, Greg ass. I'm serious. And that really wasn't that much of a pause either, because it's a point, like in a definition or a tally mark. They did an excellent job, bang up job as always. They always are on point. They never fail. They're telling the truth. They're telling how Benjamin Netanyahu is completely, corrupt, completely inept, does not deserve to be on here. Okay, Greg asks you control. I'm not gonna pay. Yeah. Redact that. Because I'm not even for the game today. I'm on for the pay. I'm here to get paid. I'm not doing this for free. I'm here to get paid, but I want to be as serious as possible, because this is a very serious situation. Because if the foot were on the other hand, if the shoe were on the other foot, if the cards were stacked in a different direction in America, we always want to say, well, Israel, you gotta help us. You gotta fight with us. You gotta go on a senseless, stupid war and stupid wars that kill thousands of kids coming up that should be enjoying their lives, should be happy and flourishing and thriving, but instead are in a box somewhere in the ground, 6 feet deep, or in a wheelchair, or in a gurney, or on a stretcher, on a bed. Okay, Greg Ash, you can, like I said, get your troll on. Get your troll on. Do what you got to do. Nobody can see this, by the way, but me and you and anyone else that wants to be here on live. When it comes to rebroadcast, that won't even be here. I have said that. But when it comes to this is way bigger than just some random niggers dying in the streets over a pig foot and a bottle of beer. This is a whole lot bigger than that. This is geopolitics. This is the way that we have to govern ourselves in this world. Because you know what? Everybody, looking at Israel, after we look at Israel, everybody's it's like everybody's in the hospital room looking at the patient, And then like the United States steps in the door and everybody's eyes turn to them and they're like, if you don't do something right, if you don't do right by me, it's going to be problems. It's going to be consequences. It's going to be problems and issues and consequences. That's what's going to be. That's what's going to be. I'm definitely not wishing harm or danger on America at all in any circumstance, but we're going to have to fight this war. And Yaron Brooks said it best. Dr. Brooks said it best. He was like, a lot of people have a false idea of what Israel is. Like there's some robust, strong, virile nation. They were, like I said, I gave that background, in the 6-Day War when they won that. That was when they were at their strongest, at their highest, and that's when people were like, "Oh, we got to back up off of getting them weapons and stuff like that." They look like they got it themselves. They're all good. No, they still need allies. Like we need allies. We're the biggest, baddest sons of bitches in the world, but we're a giant with clay feet. We're a paper tiger. We're probably worse than a paper tiger. We're a shark without teeth. We can bite down, and that could be crushing. But we don't penetrate. We don't cut into. Greg S., if you could bring in more people, that would be something. If you could just have a whole trolling faction on this live, that would be great. Get 5 or 6 of your friends. Do you have friends? I don't have. The only friends. All my friends are dead, so I can't get my friends. You're obsessed. You're obsessed with my language. I'm using precise language. So, I mean, America is in just as much of a tizzy as well. We have a geriatric president, and a possible another run for president of geriatric status, and they're totally clueless. They're out of the loop. They're not understanding what needs to happen. The fight that needs to go down. I'll take it back. Even if we don't nuke them, say we don't nuke Saudi Arabia and Iran, and if we just have forces in, I signed up, I was ready, I was going, but my dumb ass got crazy and lost my mind, and they're sending me deposits now. It's a totally different game. I was ready to serve with the boots on the ground. And I was pulling triggers. I pulled triggers. So I was ready to get down. Not like I was some great rifleman. I was not even a sharpshooter. I was a marksman. One of the lowest you can qualify for. So I would fight. I would put myself in that position again because I love this country. I love Israel. I love our allies. I love the people that are rational and thoughtful and thinking. Just think about Israel. Israel has the highest population per capita of physicians, doctors, people that help to heal and make people better. Highest in the world per capita. So you have to respect this nation. This nation is full of young people. It's full of people that have ideas that are vital, that are strong, that want to do better, want to have the best lives possible. And we have to support them. It's a moral imperative. It's a moral imperative that we support Israel. Moral imperative. It's a must. We need to do this. This is necessary. It's a necessity. It is something that has to be brought to our own attention and brought to everybody's thinking. Now, I joked before about, not a heavy joke, but I've chided a bit about the football games going on. There's tons of football games across this country that we're so taken by and that we have the gumption and the idea to completely understand what's going on with the bootleg and the QB shuffle and all the different little lines and plays and things like that. And Israel's burning right now. There are parts of Israel that are burning. There are people digging out their loved ones, children. The smell of burnt hair is in the air. Scars and flesh and limbs ripped off of bodies are around. And all I'm saying on this is I have 0 viewers. Greg S might still be here, but I have 0 viewers. Yesterday, I went up to about 46. People coming in and people coming out. Got up to 46. This is a difference. This is why I had to test this particular show, because I have another show coming up in a few weeks, and it's going to tackle something that's really near and dear to my heart as a Marine. So I wanted to just float this by and see what happens with the outcome from this particular broadcast. So many people had to die because of misunderstanding and complete ineptitude and refusal to see. Not ignorance, a refusal to see. There's a difference. Ignorance is you just don't know. You don't know. You may not ever find out what it is, but a refusal to see is it's right there glaring in front of you, and you're refusing to say that it exists or that's a threat or it's something real. That's Baba. That's probably too good of a name to give him. That's Benjamin Netanyahu. He's completely devoid of all virtues, or at least the virtues that correspond with being a leader of one of the greatest states ever formed. Maybe close to United States. Maybe United States is the noblest nation ever of all time and during mankind's existence all time. Israel might be a close second. Maybe. You question Greg S. It's a fact. It's a suggestion. It may not be a fact. I might be wrong. It might be Great Britain. They have a monarchy though. I don't know. It's so goofy. I don't know. But Israel can hold USA's just jockstrap because this concentration of that's probably not the best word. The sense of people that comprise Israel, they really stand for themselves as individuals. It's a very individualistic nation, just like the country of the United States. But the United States is narcissistic. It's not egoistic. Israel is more egoistic, and it's not just based on Zionism or anything like that. That's a fallacy as well. They're not all Zionists and religious nuts, running around doing whatever they want. They're rational people as well. They may have a bit of religion. They might go to the synagogue. They might go to the temple. But for the most part, they're very focused on reality. They're very focused on sex. They're very focused on being expressive, not repressing like America. United States is very a repressive country. We hold things back. We hold things in. We don't show our feelings and our emotions when it's proper, when it's time to. That's the difference. That's the difference between the United States and Israel, and the combination of Israel and the United States. We have to be down. We have to be allies with them no matter what. I got 2 people in here. I want to see who you are. I know Greg S is here, but whoever else is in here, make sure you drop $20 so I can get a little bit more funds coming in. Tone J he wasn't even in the room for more than probably 5 seconds and said, you know what, I got to give him his 20. because I'm putting on the ism. The ism. I can play and we can have fun with hip hop all day. We can do all the kinds of goofy mess all the time. But this is a very serious day. And I'm not in a position to do anything except run my mouth. I mean, I want to know what the best thing I can do rationally and selfishly. I would do it in a heartbeat. I would do whatever it needs to be done. But as far as knowing what to do right now, I think it's just about being on this platform and at least voicing what I need to hear. This is my therapy. I see a therapist. I'm going to see a therapist next week, but this is more therapeutic for me to get out these ideas. I don't know who you're talking about. I don't even know who you're talking about, Greg S. I'm not even going to give you the upper hand by repeating what you said into this broadcast. And nobody's going to even see it. Nobody's going to see it besides people that are live right now. If they want to repeat it, that's on them. But I'm not repeating it. And it won't come on my rebroadcast. All right, so it just hit me. It just struck me when I saw Israel hit by Hamas. I'm like, aren't they always? I feel like Biggie. I'll take it back to hip hop. Biggie and Tupac. Biggie heard that Tupac was shot. He was like, again? He was like, Tupac is always getting shot. He'll pull through he'll pull through, and he'll be fine. He'll be all right. He'll live again. And Biggie made it clear. He was like, I don't wish death on nobody because there ain't no coming back from that. And that's facts. That's truth. So that's what it's kind of like with. That's what it's kind of like with Israel. You know, I mean, Israel is like, I don't want to say Israel is like Tupac. No, I'm not going to go, get goofy. But I'm just going to say how, how do you see this come? Who are the leaders? Who are the military strategists and tacticians? Who are the political figures besides Netanyahu? He's not the only one. He's definitely the main one, obviously, but he's not the only one. Who else, even in the United States, that works with in the embassy? And come on, who had this in mind? And it's like they're getting attacked again. Aren't they always getting attacked? Isn't that like one of the most volatile places in the whole entire world? The Gaza Strip. And Dr. Yoram pointed this out to me. He's like, in all of human history, in the entirety of human history of everything, when has one side provided electricity and water for the other side that seeks to kill and destroy them? It's Israel. Israel supplies electricity and water to Hezbollah and other factions that want to do them harm. When has that ever happened? He asked. He just left the questions out there because it's like, when is it? I don't think it's ever happened before. That's what's so goofy. That's what's so weird and terrible and not goofy, just horrific, really. The altruism. That's one thing that United States and Israel share, especially. Israel probably doesn't share it to the extent of America. America is probably United States of altruism. And if you don't know what altruism is, it's basically degrading of yourself to help others. It's not helping others. That's what most people stop at. Oh, thank you for being altruistic. You're so altruistic for helping me. No, it's degrading yourself. It's damning and lowering your standards to help another person or to care for others, to have in others. It's to put yourself down. That's the key. That's what it's about. And I'm gonna rock this show. I'm at 54%. I got about 10 minutes left. I'm rolling with it. If you're rolling, Greg Ass, we can continue roll. If you wanna continue to troll, that's cool. I see 3 people here. I don't see anybody else in the chat room, but that's fine too. But he just woke that up in my mind. That's why I give him, a good amount of money every month and every end of the year, because he awakens different ideas and thoughts in me that I didn't even realize. Like what? And I read in a Reuters article that it said Israel cuts power to the Gaza Strip. I'm like, why are they having power at the Gaza Strip? What is that about? What kind of game is this? What are we playing? When is it going to be the decisive, harsh victory against our enemies? I mean, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, those were terrible. But what about Tokyo and Dresden? Those are hardly ever talked about. The Doolittle raid over Tokyo, that firebombed the city, civilians, by the way. Dresden in Germany, the Allies bombed the various places in Germany. But Hiroshima and Nagasaki, oh my God, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, oh my God, oh, they used nuclear weapons, oh my God, and little babies were killed, and grandpas and grandmas and aunts and uncles and cousins and nieces that weren't enemy combatants. Oh my God, they have to have a peace day every August 6th in recognition of the bombs first dropping. It's insane. It is absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. It makes zero sense. So all I'm saying is, even if we don't use nuclear warfare against Saudi Arabia and Iran, I'm not a tactician and a military strategist. I'm not. I'm just thinking off my stupid brain. Like, why can't we use nuclear? If we got all these nukes, why can't we nuke Russia? Why can't we nuke Iran? Why can't we nuke all these different places that have these evils and stamp them out? Later on, sign a treaty, just like Japan. You can't do this and you can't do that. You have a constitution now, and look what happens. We're best friends. Germany, best friends. Italy, best friends. Axis of evil. 1941 to 1945, and for Americans, they're already terrorizing places in Europe and elsewhere in the islands of the Pacific, prior to America's involvement. But we got people riding in Lambos, Ferraris, people riding around in Porsches. It's Porsche, not Porsche, by the way. It's not Porsche, it's Porsche. But people riding around in Porsches, wearing Hugo Boss, riding around in Mercedes Benz. I know, and like Dr. Yoram Brook cleaned this up for me too. He said, like, this one questioner asked about his Porsche being made by Germans, and the factories were used to make weapons for the Nazis. And he was wondering if he should still ride his Porsche, even though they made vehicles for the Nazis. And he was like, there's a closeness to it. There's an analogy with Ben and Jerry's ice cream, and he was saying how Ben and Jerry's is like extremely leftist. They're like completely off the wall, bonkers leftist. They have delicious ice cream, but their whole front is evil because it's very leftist. That's like there's evil rightists. They just happen to be evil leftists. And so he doesn't eat Ben and Jerry's ice cream. Just like I stopped eating Ben and Jerry's ice cream after learning that, after gaining knowledge. If it's current and it continues to go on, don't deal with it. Don't trade with them. Do nothing for them. But if it was in the past and they no longer reflect that they are, part of the war machine or trying to start another Nazi, uprising or something, keep driving those Porsches. But that's what I'm saying. I'm not a strategist. I was just a lowly lance corporal. Didn't know what the hell I was doing parts of the time. I was just doing it. Just don't mean to laugh, but you know what I mean. I just would like to see somebody with some cojones, a backbone, a spine, something, and a brain that stands up. And it may not even be somebody with cojones. It could be a female, could be a lady. I'm looking at you, Nikki Haley. You could be the one that says, you know what, we're gonna stop all of this. How we became friends with Japan. We have Sony and Toyota and all these different companies, Honda, all these different companies now. We're allies. And Japan, for one time, was the second biggest economy in the world behind the United States. Look that up. It's a fact. Now I think they're in a deep recession or something. They're in, not in the best economic status right now, but at one point they were very, very, influential in terms of finances and economics. But yeah, we're friends now. I don't know if we have to be friends. It could be a little bit deeper for Iran and Saudi Arabia. I don't know if we can all be friends and hold hands and sing Kumbaya. I don't know if that's possible. It may be, like I said, it runs a little bit deeper. Because also the irony, like during the 80s, when we fought, we supplied the forces in Afghanistan with weapons and support. And then, they're trying to fight off the Russians, and they lost against them. And the irony of it all, the sick and grim irony, is that they turned around and were like, thanks for the weapons. Now we're going to fight against you. It's a very weird, sick, disgusting, place that we call politics and geopolitics and how we have to govern, and the wars. There's so many wars. The 6-Day War, the Yom Kippur War for Israel. They're not the super soldier that they once were. Not during those 6 days war, when they vanquished their enemy in 6 days. That's remarkable. But then they just kind of slid. They slid. We remained allies, but we were like, Israel, really? Sadly. That's the part that people don't really understand. It's the fact that they had, a vice grip on, what it was to be in the world. They had a vice grip on just a little nation. This little nation amongst savages, brutes, and barbarians. And they were able to do something special. That's extraordinary. So it's amazing to me that we as Americans are so blasé, and it's not selfishness. Like I said, it's not a selfishness. It's not irrational self-interest, because there's no such thing as irrational self-interest. There's just irrational. That we should say, sit back and be like, where's the game? Israel, they got hit. I don't even know. and keep moving. But at 9/11, oh my God, the towers, oh, the Pentagon, oh, Shanksville, Pennsylvania. I don't know. I don't. That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm on this live. I'm doing what my heroes did. They got on and they're more astute than I. They're dangling degrees and just knowledge that I don't have, that I've only been able to take in by their books and their broadcasts. Well, that's doing something. They put my ass to the fire and did something, trying to do something I can do. This is all I can do. I don't know anything else to do without being in a uniform and having an M16 with me. I could do that. Probably couldn't do it well, to be honest, but I could do it. I would do the best part of, and not being smart, but at least moral. I would fight for mine. That's the only way you were able to survive through recruit training and Marine Corps training, combat training. That's the only thing you had to do. Oh, here we go. Rick James up in the building. Got 2 out of 3 free riders. I'll say free riders out of respect. Salute. Salute. Now I got 3 people in here with 6 likes. I'm rocking till the wheels fall off. I got about 25% left. Yeah, are you up to speed what I'm talking about, Rick? You up to speed? I'm talking about Israel. More than 238 dead as of the article I read that was printed on at 3:53 p.m. Here's a rundown. Here's a summary. Hamas gunmen enter Israel in unprecedented attack. At least 200 Israelis reported dead. More than 1,000 wounded. Hamas says it has taken many Israeli captives. Israel says Hamas has launched cruel and wicked war. At least 230 killed in Israeli retaliation on Gaza. A cruel and wicked war. That's funny. I mean, it's not funny, haha. It's weird. Funny, strange. Because it didn't have to be a war to begin with. Yeah, and there's video. Yeah, that's what they were saying on X, by the way, the social media site formerly known as Twitter. It's X now. What does one do? That was an essay that Ayn Rand wrote. What does one do? And one of the possibilities that they said to me was, besides creating a YouTube channel, and I was like, wait a minute. And then Mr. Troy Star Terrain said, they want to see you, they want to hear your voice. And that's all. I was like, you know what? Let me try this out. First go around, 535 views. I said, I hit the nail on this. Something special is gonna happen with this. This is gonna be something very special. So I kept going, kept at it. I'm here today. And this is what I do. Just like reporters. Reporters aren't military people. They're not unless they're in the military, of course, and they report on the news. They have a pen and pad or they have their phone and their M16 with them at the same time. Yeah, so that's interesting. That's always an interesting idea to explore. What does one do? Like I remember in 9/11, I was when your foot falls asleep, that's the feeling I was feeling throughout my entire body. I had that same tingling, like numbness. It was terrible. It was horrible. I didn't know what to do. So what did I do? I fell back. Exactly, Greg. Yes. I'm not even gonna repeat what you said, but That's true though. That is true. That's what I've been talking about. You know what? I'll say it. He says one cracks a beer and watches TV. That's exactly what 95% of people that are adults, are doing across this country right now. They're looking at the college football games. That numbness was the first. Yeah, when I was 14, yeah, or not even 14, 13. When I was 13 years old, that's when September 11th, 2001 occurred. You have to clarify 2001 because people were like, didn't 9/11 happen in 2004? Nah, son. 9/11 happened in 2006. I remember it was crazy. Catching bodies at 12. Greg asks that you're the levity. You're like the comic relief. Every serious, sincere broadcast like this. I'm not every sincere broadcast, but like this. That's normally giddy and goofy and off the wall. It needs a clown. It needs a jester like you. What's a circus without you clown niggas? I'm looking at you, Greg. What's a circus without you? I needed that because I was really pissed off. That was the first thing I saw when I woke up. I woke up around 9 o'clock, turned on NPR. That was the first thing they talked about. They talked about, and that's another thing too. It's proximity. It's weird. It's a weird thing because if it was America, there would be no. We just had a national emergency report that went on everybody's telephone, everybody's mobile devices. Everybody's mobile devices went like that. Did that happen in Israel? Does everybody have that? Is there a national emergency system that alerts people that there's bombings, there's people coming in to kill you? Is that true? I don't even know. Do they? And what is our emergency system? What is it for? What does it tell you to go to reach your higher ground or something? I don't. It's very strange. Very strange. But I woke up, I heard this, and said Hamas. I was like, damn it. I was like, either Hezbollah or Hamas. And Hezbollah's like sitting back, giggling, eating cornballs. Same thing with people in Egypt and definitely Iran. They're laughing and joyous and dancing, burning flags. Just like on 9/11. They were burning flags and dancing in the streets. Over close to 3,000 or over 3,000 probably now because they did DNA testing and found more remains. But of the people that were missing, of course, there are people that were missing since that day. But they did DNA scans and found more people based on their remains. But yeah, probably 3,000 human beings, perished in the worst terrorist attacks in American history. And that was horrible. But Israel was like, hey, we got to help them out. We got to support them. We got to be on, everything for them. And I rationally hope that our leaders are going to actually put their money where their mouth is because Biden said, and I'm gonna put up. Let me see. He wants to support. He wants to support Netanyahu. This is what it says in the Reuters article. Biden offered support to Netanyahu, not to Israel. And this is what he said later. It says, this quote, at the White House, President Joe Biden said Israel had the right to defend itself, quote, and his quote, full stop, quote, end quote. We will, and another quote, we will never not have her back, end quote. Yeah, we'll see about that. He's too busy, worried about whether his dogs are biting people and to be, dealing with other countries. See, again, Greg S., you're being very altruistic. What do you mean help? Well, you're still being altruistic because this is an ally of ours. This is a value. We don't mind our own business when it comes to our allies. They're our business. We make them our business. That's what we do. Greg asks, you need to do your history. You need to do your history. Israel has helped us in more ways than one. During the wars of Afghanistan and Iraq, they aided us, they abetted us, they took care of us. If they didn't offer either material support, they offered moral support throughout. And that was with Netanyahu in power as well. He at least had that, capacity to boast. So you have to do a little bit more research, sir, I would say. Get your research game up. Yeah, so I'm dealing with broke niggas in the chat. I got 17% left before I get out of here. So if anybody want to ask me any questions, I'll give you a free day. It's Saturday. You want to ask questions? Rick James and Greg S. Or if it's just Greg S., I don't know. I'll wait for the questions to pour in. I want some questions from my two most important freeloaders. So it's very very critical to me that I see this. This is something that's special because it's a sad day. It's a really sad day, but we don't care. We don't care. If the tables were turned, though, we'd be wailing and yelling and hollering, "Oh, my baby! They got my baby! Oh my God, I can't believe this! Israel, you gotta help us! Come on, help us! Help us!" Greg asks, when did you start capping for the small hats? I don't say small hats. I let that be to choice start to rain. I've never capped for them or whoever you're speaking about. And there you go. That's it. Next question. You spelled question wrong, but that's all right. Now this is a sad day, but Americans, we don't care. Israel was attacked. Just put it on the other side. Just put it on the other side. That's all you gotta do. That's all you gotta do. Just put it on our side. Oh, they shut down. No, there will be no college games. There'll be no college football. None. And this is the thing with Israel. Israel, they take things very seriously. Very seriously. When Remembrance Day of the Holocaust occurs, they get out of their cars and they listen to a horn. And they say, they just stand there. They just stand there outside of their cars and wait till the horn stops. They have a moment of complete reflection and remembrance during that entire time. That's Israel. That's what they do. That's something that is very vital and very important to say. All right, I was trying to be serious about the questions, or at least entertain them, but I'm not. But Israel doesn't play around. They're gonna have another day like today. Today's gonna be remembered. They're gonna have prayer and whoever's in the faith, because not everybody is in the faith in Israel. That's a misnomer. That's a misconception. They're not all wild, rabid Zionists, like I said earlier. Well, prove it, Greg S. He says they're not kind people. Well, prove it. Show me how they're not kind people, and then we can get back and talk figures. That's the key to all this. The fact that Israel, they take things very seriously. I'm sure, there are no soccer matches or football, I should say, football matches or anything like that. There's no, TV. All the TV shows are probably off the air, or there's no streaming available or something like that. Maybe there's no internet service available or very little. I don't know. I'm speculating at this time, but I'm just saying examples of what is the reality of it. I mean, I read the article and they said there was they said that's the thing. They said so much bodies everywhere. There's bodies. There are bodies in cars. There are bodies in streets. There are bodies on the sidewalks. I mean, we have to remember they're not just bodies. These were minds. These were brains. These are thoughts. These were people wanting to live their lives, not just bodies. There are people with ambitions and goals and dreams and what they wanted to do with their lives. That's what's so sad about all of this, is that these people did not have to die. I'm looking at you, Benjamin Netanyahu. I almost messed up his name, but I'm putting all this on him and others. It's not just him. It's his strategists and people behind him and underneath him and around him. But he especially is at fault. There's blood on his hands as well, because all of this could have been prevented. All this could have been stopped. I don't understand how they weren't the barriers. When I see in different government organizations, they have the what is it called, cinder blocks, or it's these concrete barriers, right? And they're strategically positioned so somebody can't just rush in and explode and bomb the whole place. They didn't have that equipped. Am I missing something? A beautiful soul. Salute to you. Beautiful soul. A bountiful soul. Oh my gosh. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, she got mad because I said beautiful. She was just on here. Hold on. Okay. Respect. Cool. You can give $10 or $20. You can get $10, $20. A bountiful soul. That's all right. I appreciate you. Thank you for stopping in. I appreciate all that you do. Thank you. Thoroughly appreciate it. Israel, it's just one of the things that you say, you just say, there's something out there in the world that has rationality, has, expressiveness, can show how robust they are in certain aspects. They're not as robust as they once were, but in a way they're more rational and more thoughtful than everything around them. They're like a little diamond. They're like Delaware. I'm gonna say they're like Delaware. They're the diamond state. They're the diamond nation. They represent something that is very significant to the world. All around them, every person, every group, vicious, ugly, disgusting, altruistic, selfless, unselfish, whatever you want to say. It's very sad. Very sad day. So, depending on where you are, there's probably cookouts and barbecues. Still, it's autumn, but people are still in the yard with the fire pits and there's people tailgating and stuff like that, toasting with beer and say, "Woo, yeah, man, get some," But seriously, yeah, it's a shame. It's really sad. It's really sad. Like I said, the tables were turned. If the shoe was on the other foot, I'm just waiting on a time where we can finally say all the enemies have been squashed. It's like the terrorist attacks are duck duck goose, but the despots and the tyrants and even the inept prime ministers, and presidents, they're like whack-a-mole. Knock one down, another one pops up. Knock one down, another one pops up. It's the same sentiment, same idea. So, we have to be on guard, especially now. I mean, if it was 2002, 2003, they would have raised the debt, not the debt, the terror level. A lot of you kids probably don't remember that. I'm like the old grandpa. Well, back in my day, they had this chart, and the chart was like this. It was like lowest level of threat, blue. The next level, I'll look it up. I'll do it. I'll look it up for you. I'll show you the chart. Here it was. Here we go. Homeland Security Advisory System. Low risk of terrorist attack. So, just in case we had, so sick, it's so disgusting. Just in case we have, we had this in place right now. Are we at the green? It's at green. It says low green. Low is low risk of terrorist attack. Guarded, that's blue. It's general risk of terrorist attack. So, general risk. What do you? I mean, do you go into a cellar? Do you crawl around on the ground? Okay, whatever. Elevated, significant risk of terrorist attack. Okay, now, do you douse your hair and put flame, a lighter to it and set your hair on fire? High risk of terrorist attack. Still, I don't. Do I have to go to a bunker? I don't have a bunker. There's no way I can do anything. I don't. And of course, the very top, severe risk of terrorist attacks. Okay, so I don't have a bunker. I'm not going to set my hair on fire. I'm not going to run around. I guess I can just go to this corner and huddle up into a fetal position in like a little ball. They really had this. This is a fact. You can look it up right now. Homeland Security Advisory System. Just in case you kids have never heard of it before. The DEFCON levels are different. Those are from military measures. And they go in reverse. 5 is the safest, and I think 1 is the worst. Yeah, so I just have to salute Dr. Euron Brook, Dr. Cargate, Mr. Elon Journo. I gotta salute them. Definitely, they got right on to, in minutes time. It seemed, they knew they obviously had, in knowledge. They have been writing and speaking and telling everybody about this. Like Dr. Euron Brook was about to pull out his hair. He was just like, I've been saying this for I don't know how long. What do I have to say? What do I have to do? I do. He does a lot. He goes on speaking tours. He writes books. He does the pop. He does the broadcast. He does. He goes around the world and speaking, engagements. What else does he have to do to let people know about the reality of Israel and America and all parts of the other countries, but especially those two? Hey. All right, you know what? I got 0 people in here. If I get one more message that comes up in 5 seconds, I'll stay. But I'm about to get out of here because I want to make sure that I set up something for my dad. All right, so 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Thank you, Tone J. Thank you very much for your support. I appreciate everything you do. You are definitely an ally in my life. Thank you for supporting the show. Thank you for allowing me to go. Oh, see. Then Height comes in. Height supports the machine. He's not a freeloader. He's not a freeloader. So I have to say something up to Height. $20 of raised. $6. You can do 10s and 20s. That's all I'm looking for. 50s and 100s would be great. I wouldn't stop you with 50s and 100s, but 10s and 20s. Not look for anything less than 10. You can keep that. Keep it in your purse. Keep it in your wallet. Keep it in your backpack, in your pocket. But anything else, $10 or $20, you can use my PayPal again. I'll send you that. That's my PayPal. Just in case you need to use that, I appreciate it. Definitely, worth being here. I gave out over an hour, almost an hour and a half to this segment, speaking on Israel, speaking on what one can do. It's like I'm looking at them. I'm looking at Dr. Brook. I'm looking at Uncle Gate, Dr. Gate, Mr. Journo. Salute, Greg S. It seems like you're being sincere, so I say salute. All right, and like I said, they just jumped onto the video. They didn't say, "Oh, we got to mount up with weapons." They're already using their weapons, their mind, using their thought. They're conveying information in a powerful, cogent way. They're very persuasive. They're not persuading enough. That's not to detract from them, but they say it themselves. I mean, not too many people are following Ayn Rand. They only have 59,000 subscribers. They should have 59 million subscribers. Sick. It's the blues. It's the blues. Everything that I've come across in my life after August Wilson came into it, when I discovered his work, and I said, yeah, it is the blues. You have one thing's good, and then something's kind of off. I mean, that goes through everything from the Greek dramatists, Sophocles, Aristophanes, and more, and the current dramatists. It just something has to be a little bit off. It has to be a little wrong. It's a little difficult. But yeah, so okay, I'm definitely gonna check out now. Height, if you wanna support me, you can still support me, without being on the broadcast. You can just send me something through my PayPal, and you can send me an email when you have done it. All right, Greg is totally a defeatist. He's definitely a defeatist. Wait a minute. Just a few more seconds. Just bear with me. I'm just looking for something to keep going. Yeah, just let me know. No doubt, Height. Yeah. Just hit me up with a Gmail on my Gmail and keep it moving. Hey, thank you all, you free riders, Greg S. and Rick James. Thank you, Height. Thank you, Tone J. Thank you, A Bountiful Soul, even though you came in and almost had a message and you dropped it. I don't know what happened there, but all right. Thank you for coming through. I appreciate everyone. If I don't see you tomorrow, I'll see you sometime on Monday. Thank you, or at least 4 o'clock on Monday. Thank you very much. Take care.